What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we had an epic moment as undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO World Boxing Organization welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Terence Bud Crawford. 38 wins, no loss and no draw, 29 big wins by way of knockout, 34 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. With that said, Terence Crawford, he discussed his obvious mega undisputed showdown with undefeated unified 3-belt welterweight world champion who holds the WBC, WBA, IBF welterweight world titles, superstar boxer ERROL the True Spence Jr., who has 28 wins, no losses, no draw, 22 big wins by way of knockout. He is 32 years of age, 5'9" with a 72-inch arm reach. With that said, ERROL Spence and Terence Crawford, they make for the biggest fight in the sport of boxing currently as it stands today. And they have become each other's biggest rival, okay? But Terence Crawford, he stated that he never foresaw ERROL Spence being his rival, or anybody for that matter. He saw 4-division world champion, superstar boxer, Adrien the Problem Broner. 34 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 24 wins by way of knockout, 33 years of age, 5'6" with a 69-inch arm reach, as his biggest rival. He thought that him and Adrien Broner were on a collision course to be a rival and have a possible trilogy, right? So he stated that he thought Adrien Broner represented that. But obviously, that went downhill in December of 2013, December 14th of 2013, actually, to be exact, when Adrien Broner lost to Marcos El Chino Maidana, okay? And when Adrien Broner lost unanimous decision to Marcos Maidana, he hit the deck twice, and it was a shocking upset loss. And Adrien Broner, up until that point, as Terence Crawford stated, was considered to be the next Floyd Mayweather, retired legendary, iconic Hall of Fame superstar boxer in Floyd Mayweather, retired 50-0 now. Adrien Broner was slated up until that point to be the next Floyd Mayweather. You even had people who thought that he can beat Floyd Mayweather. And so Terence Crawford, he stated when he witnessed Adrien Broner's press conference, he was a superstar, Adrien Broner, okay? He had big fights, big names, he was a big name. He fought Paul Malignaggi, that went viral. He fought Marcos Maidana, that was supposed to go viral. The skill set of Adrien Broner was supposed to outclass and outlast Marcos El Chino Maidana, and it didn't. The unorthodoxness, the angles, the power, the rough, rugged tactics of Marcos El Chino Maidana, it got to Adrien Broner. And that was Adrien Broner's last greatest performance, okay? Even in loss, Adrien Broner, he let his hands go. Marcos Maidana afterwards stated that that's the hardest he's ever been hit in his career. And Terence Crawford was at 135, 140. Adrien Broner was at 135. And it seemed like they was on a collision course for a mega showdown, okay? And Adrien Broner was the biggest star than Terence Crawford. So Terence Crawford, he stated in his interview he did with 2-time welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Showtime Sean Porter, and the Porterweight podcast and panel of great members on the Porterweight podcast. He stated that, Adrien Broner came up to Colorado Springs where they was training, and, he always saw and felt like Adrien Broner was that guy. And when he saw Adrien Broner choke his opponent, at the weigh-in, he stated that he knew that was the guy, right? And so he stated that, but when he met Adrien Broner, he stated that, he was anything but what he was perceived to be, and he stated that he understood that, that Adrien Broner, was selling the biggest possible mantra of himself, to be successful, to make himself a superstar. And so, Adrien Broner, he did that with a couple of opponents, but, he also did that with Emmanuel Taylor. They went back and forth, and he ended up knocking out Emmanuel Taylor, beating Emmanuel Taylor convincingly, okay? They had a spat. He beat Emmanuel Taylor convincingly, but Adrien Broner is a showman, okay? And so back then, it would have been interesting to see, Adrien Broner and Terence Crawford, face off against each other, because that was a more confident, more, I don't want to say talented, because he's still very talented. He's still very young, but that was a more confident, active is the word I'm looking for. A more confident, active fighter in Adrien Broner. Okay, so that version of Adrien Broner, letting his hands go, would have been a very interesting fight for Terence Crawford, because the hand speed of Adrien Broner, the power of Adrien Broner, the skill set of Adrien Broner, that version of Adrien Broner, would have been competitive against Terence Crawford, right? Adrien Broner afterwards, not going to be competitive. After he lost to Marcos Maidana, that Adrien Broner was definitely not going to be competitive against Terence Crawford. I still think Terence Crawford would have won, but Terence Crawford's style would not have surprised Adrien Broner as much as Marcos Maidana's style did. Marcos Maidana's unorthodoxness, his angles, his rough, rugged tactics, elbows, and we can't forget the situation with the gloves with Maidana, okay, because those gloves had little to no padding in those gloves. And those are the same gloves he attempted to wear in his very next fight against Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather didn't allow Marcos Maidana to wear those gloves, okay? And, so with that said, who knows if that played a major part, but Adrien Broner is on the record saying that after that fight with Marcos Maidana, he had been reluctant to let his hands go. And you can see it took a turn for worse. And many people just chalked it up as Adrien Broner not knowing and understanding how to deal with, the pressure of losing, okay? But Adrien Broner, he stated that he was hesitant to let his hands go because of the punishment he took in the fight against Marcos Maidana, okay? And you can clearly see night and day. You can clearly see the change in Adrien Broner from that point forward, okay? And again, like I said, I can't reiterate this enough, because we know Marcos Maidana and his trainer, Robert Garcia, attempted to use gloves with no padding, little to no padding in a knuckle area against Floyd Mayweather. But you had Floyd Mayweather and Floyd Mayweather's father trainer, Floyd Mayweather Sr., you had Mayweather Promotion CEO Leonard Ellaby. They caught it. And Floyd Mayweather, he tried on the gloves, and he's like, ain't no way. He's not wearing these gloves. There ain't no padding. I can feel my knuckle right here in the padding. I can feel my knuckle right here. No way. These gloves are already broken in. He can't wear these gloves. And Robert Garcia, they were standing on their square. Oh, you let Cotto wear these gloves. These are the gloves we wore against Adrien Broner. We ain't going to fight if we can't use our gloves, because they wanted an edge, an advantage. And if they attempted that to the point that Floyd Mayweather had to pay Marcos Maidana to change his gloves. You know they did that in the fight with Adrien Broner, allegedly, right? Again, Adrien Broner had been reluctant. That point forward, moving forward, never was the same guy. So Terence Crawford, he stated that it was a shocker, because the tides changed. And from that point forward, Terence Crawford didn't think that he was going to have a rival. And now he moved up as he moved up in weight. As you move up in weight, bigger fights start to present themselves. And at that time, he was a 130, 135 pound fighter. So fighting at 147 and the 147 welterweight guys wasn't on the radar. But as he moved up, eventually, it morphed into him and ERROL Spence. Now he has an even bigger fight on his hands for undisputed at welterweight. So can't wait to see. Hopefully this gets announced and done ASAP. Can't wait to see it. But that's all I got for y'all. Adrien Broner versus Terence Crawford would have been epic should it have happened. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.